2024 is off to a fascinating start, with shows like Solo Leveling, Classroom of the Elite, and Dangers in My Heart airing at the same time. Fans are having a blast. This year might just be the best year for the anime industry, but in my opinion, ending something on a high note is just as important as the beginning. Keeping that in mind, we'll talk about the top 10 anime that will air in fall 2024. With epic battles, jaw-dropping animation, and crazy plot twists, these shows have it all. So, sit back and maybe grab some popcorn because you're in for a treat. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. For number 10, let's talk about the most anticipated anime of 2024, Dadan. Fans have been waiting for this show for ages now, and it seems like their dreams are finally coming true in fall 2024. Animated by the infamous Science Saru, which is well known for adaptations of shows like Devilman Crybaby and Keep Your Hands Off Aizukan, I'm expecting some fascinating things from it. The story revolves around two teenagers named Momo and Okarun, who are polar opposites. Momo believes in the existence of ghosts since she comes from a family of spirit mediums, and Okarun believes in the presence of aliens. Following some weird circumstances, both of them gain mysterious abilities to tackle their worst fears. This also marks the beginning of their unprecedented love story. We still don't have any information regarding the number of episodes and the exact release date, but it is expected to air somewhere in October. And in case you haven't watched the trailer, you should definitely check it out. You won't be disappointed, I promise. On the 9th spot, we have I'll Become a Villainess that'll go down in history. These isekai titles have been getting out of hand lately. I mean, they literally spoil the entire show just by the title itself. Anyways, the next anime on this list is I'll Become a Villainess that'll go down in history. What can go wrong when you combine isekai and romance? Nothing. Even though it's quite obvious from the title that the show is about some cheeky teenager who gets reincarnated into another world and wants to become the greatest villainess in existence, we'll still talk about it. So, the story revolves around a random teenager who gets reincarnated into the body of her favorite fictional character, Alicia. Owing to her grasp of the game, she's confident that she'll turn out to be the greatest villainess out there. But little did she know that things going so smoothly and changing Alicia's fate wouldn't be a piece of cake. Like the other shows that'll air in fall 2024, we don't have any information regarding this one as well. I'm not expecting some great things from the show since the plot is quite generic and cliche. Anyways, we'll see how things turn out. The 8th anime on this list is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? How can you not include this show on this list? I mean, that's just blasphemous. Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon is one of the most popular anime franchises out there, and it makes total sense that it's getting another season this year. Well, popularity doesn't really play any role in shows getting another season, and we can take the example of No Game, No Life. Man, I wish that show had another season. Anyways, getting back to the topic, revolving around the story of Bell Cranel, the sole member of the Hestia family, this anime explores some fascinating themes including fantasy, action, and adventure. Well, the title of the show is somewhat weird. I mean, it doesn't even revolve around picking up girls in a dungeon. That would be hella weird. In any case, if you have been living under a rock for some reason and haven't watched this show, I strongly recommend that you catch up before the 5th season airs in fall 2024. Also, I forgot to mention that JC Staff is once again animating the show, so you can expect some fascinating things from it. Let's talk about the 7th anime, Dragon Ball Daima. Akira Toriyama has sadly left us, but his work is still there to inspire us. Dragon Ball is perhaps the most popular anime of all time. I mean, people who don't even watch anime have at least watched it or at least heard about it. It was an integral part of our childhood, and I still remember giving Goku my energy so he can complete the Spirit Bomb. Good old days. Anyways, it's been quite some time since we last witnessed some new content from the Dragon Ball franchise. Fans were expecting some new information regarding the continuation of Dragon Ball Super, but instead of that, we got Dragon Ball Daima. The plot of this show is quite unique, as Goku and his friends have been turned chibi owing to some conspiracy, and in order to get their bodies back, they have to venture to another world filled with monsters. Since Goku cannot use his full potential, we will witness him utilizing Nyobo after a long time. I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite hyped about this. I don't know how Toei is going to manage both One Piece and Dragon Ball Daima at the same time. They cannot compromise either one's anime, and I hope they'll do justice to both shows. Next up, on number 6, we have Story of a Girl That Was Unable to Become a Mage. In case you haven't heard about it, the source material of the show actually won the fantasy category of the Project Anima competition. So, yes, I'm expecting phenomenal things from it. Let's talk about the plot here. This show revolves around the story of a high school student named Kurumi Mirai. She enrolled in the junior high section of the Red Run Magic School and remained at the top of the class for 3 consecutive years. However, when she applies for the high school section and takes the examination for mage training class, she fails to get in despite her overwhelming grades. Another interesting thing here is that the person Kurumi has a crush on actually attends that class. How will Kurumi cope with this situation? I guess all we can do is wait for the show. Fifth show to embrace our eyes in fall 2024 is Runi Kenshin. To be honest, I wasn't expecting them to readapt the entire show, but I guess they're doing it. Runi Kenshin is one of the most beloved anime franchises of all time, and whenever such a show gets a reboot, they usually end up butchering it bad. But, much to my surprise, Runi Kenshin's reboot wasn't that bad. They did change some aspects of the show, but overall, it was great. In case you have just started watching anime and don't know anything about this masterpiece, I'll tell you about the plot. The story revolves around the Mura Kenshin, also known as the infamous Hitokiri Batusai. Following the cruel events of the Bakamatsu period, Kenshin mysteriously disappeared and decides to atone for all his previous sins. During his journey of atonement, Kenshin meets many new people and even comes across his enemies who make him question his ideals. In case you haven't watched this masterpiece, I suggest you do it before the second season airs. You won't regret it. Next up, we have the Blue Wolves of Meoo. Let me tell you something about myself. I'm a huge fan of unique anime, and this one falls right into that category. I mean, who doesn't love men battling it out with their massive swords? That sounded a bit wrong, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm saying. The setting of this show is quite similar to Runi Kenshin. With Japan on the cusp of monumental change, the streets of the nation are soaked in blood. The crime rate has risen significantly and no one is safe. Under such circumstances, young orphan Neo is determined to change everything and bring peace. He eventually comes across 2 men, Hijikata Toshizo and Okita Tsuji, who are actually the founders of a Ronin group named Miburo. Neo gets inspired by their efforts to bring peace and decides to join them to help carve the world he wishes to see. But things are not that easy in the real world, as Neo faces betrayals and conspiracies every other day. Would he be able to stay true to himself? I'm pretty sure you guys are also curious regarding this series, but we'll have to wait till fall for it to air. On number 3, we have the Maglumire Magical Girls Incorporated. And I don't even know how to pronounce this. Being a magical girl sounds fun, right? I mean, all you have to do is fly around, act cute, and perform weird magic tricks. But let me tell you a harsh reality. Being a magical girl is not all fun and games. If you don't believe me, you can ask the protagonist of this show, Kana Sakuragi. In this show, magical girls exist to exterminate natural disasters known as Kai that can potentially exterminate humanity. There are over 500 companies that hire magical girls and train them. Keeping this in mind, Kana also aspires to become one. But unfortunately, she hasn't had any luck since over 15 companies have already rejected her. However, things change rather quickly as a monster crashes her latest interview and Kana finds herself helping a magical girl. This marks the beginning of Kana, the magical girl. I have great expectations from this show. Well, most people won't like it because of the plot, and maybe they just hate magical girls, but I'm already loving it. I think it's about time we include some romance into this list. On number 2, we have Mura No Koi. I'm pretty sure all of you agree that romance makes everything better, right? Even though I haven't had any success in that regard. I'm hopeful though. Anyways, Mura No Koi revolves around the story of a high school student, Mirai, and his teacher, Tanaka. Besides being a teacher, Tanaka is also a privileged otaku who loves otome games, and Mirai is in love with her. Just like any other teacher-student relationship, he gets rejected by Tanaka. However, this isn't the end for him, as he transforms himself into Tanaka's favorite otome character. Will this help Mirai win the heart of his beloved teacher, or will he get rejected once again? Last anime on this list is Nina, the Starry Bride. This show is what you can call a perfect blend of romance and fantasy. Nina is your average poor teenager who gets sold into slavery by her own brother. Sheesh. I guess Nina really has it tough though. But wait, the guy who bought Nina is actually a prince and wants her to live the life of a deceased princess, Alicia. However, being the dumb girl she is, Nina rejects his proposal and wants to live her previous life. Things get a lot interesting with the addition of some other interesting characters and unexpected love blooms between them. That's it folks, these are the shows that have been confirmed for fall 2024 so far. Let me know in the comments which anime I have missed and which show are you most excited about. Till then, sayonara.
I'm in the whip with authority, looking like Sky Bree, she got a body, ayy. And she been calling me daddy lately, want me to put her in Cartier's, and the deserve it. Put in work for the money, she earn it. Give me top every night, lip service. Now I gotta block these, she worth it. I'm out in Abu Dhabi.